My name is Nick Tierce. This is the Granville House Productions booth. We've got 3 products on offer today, different projects at different states of readiness. The one that's already out in the world is Hollow Medium. It's a recovered audio ghost story, sort of if you imagine movies having found footage. This is the audio equivalent, recovered audio. The idea is someone found a mysterious trunk filled with hundreds of old wax cylinders that had been used by a bartender during the Prohibition era. So she's in a speakeasy, she starts to experience all of these strange paranormal happenings, and she records them the only way she knows how, onto wax cylinders. So this show is completely from her perspective, and you can hear some of the paranormal things going on. And with each episode, on the website, we've got some puzzles that were tied into artifacts that were with the cylinders in the box. So you can get the complete story by listening to the show, but if you want to know more, there's all these artifacts that you can unlock more layers of the story. A little thing to peel back if you really enjoy what you hear. Coming up, we're announcing 2 new projects. The first is the Swashbuckle Noir Adventure magazine, for which we're giving out tiny pocket swords. You never know when adventure could lie around every corner. Best to have a pocket sword on you at all times. The belle of the ball, though, is really Linked. It is a novel that is a prequel to The Christmas Carol, and this project has a very interesting history. It was originally written as a screenplay. That screenplay was optioned by Disney, and they had an A-list director attached. The guy who wrote all the music for Wicked was going to write music for it. But through some crazy shenanigans, all the rights reverted back to the author, and so now, rather than making it as a movie, it is going to be published as a novel. And that novel tells the story that happens right before the Christmas Carol. Basically, if you imagine Scrooge, there were a lot of curmudgeons in his time. Why was Scrooge given a chance at redemption when no one else was? And the answer is, his dead partner, Jacob Marley, made a sacrifice in the afterlife that gave Scrooge that chance. And so that book will tell that story, and it's a very exciting one. We've been working on it a really long time, and excited to get that out this Christmas.
And what would people be surprised about all 3 projects that are in these projects that they wouldn't expect?
Well, we always try and add an extra little layer to peel back, whether that's through puzzles or cryptograms or even just ways that it connects to other media. The idea of Granville House Productions was always going to be about stories that were too big for one platform. So cross-platform stories, multi-transmedia stories that go from one media to another but speak with one voice. And so each one of these projects is the beginning of hopefully a much larger narrative project. That's the idea anyway. So hopefully everyone enjoys what we've got, and we will be allowed to continue each one of these stories into the future.
Do you want to talk about your full team, how they've brought everything together?
I would be happy to. Right now, the team is myself, Nick Tierce, and my wife. I'll bring her in right now. She is the author of Linked, Linnea Bond. She has written a magnificent story and was also the showrunner on Hollow Medium. So there were other writers brought in to build out all the different episodes of Hollow Medium, including myself, but she was the voice that kind of unified all that and made sure that each episode locked in and told one larger story.
And why are Comic-Cons so important for publishers and creatives like yourself?
Comic-Con is a wonderful thing. Do you want to talk about Comic-Con and what it offers to the company?
Yeah, I think it's great to meet people face to face, get to talk about our projects, and get real time feedback, right? In a way that you can't always do online, interacting with people. So it's wonderful to hear what people are excited about, maybe what they're not excited about, and it always defies our expectations. So that's always great feedback to get.
Expectations really is what it gets down to, both in terms of us being able to set people's expectations for what these things are going to be, but also for them to tell us what their expectations are, even if you just hear a title. What do you expect from that title? We have our assumptions on that, but when you're pitching it to everybody who's walking the convention floor, they're going to let you know what they expect from a title like the Swashbuckle Noir Adventure magazine, and it's up to us to make sure that we deliver that when it finally is released.
Now, the Swashbuckler, will that be a series or just a one-shot?
The magazine will be a one-shot. So the Swashbuckle Noir Adventure magazine will be a single kind of anthology piece that launches what we hope is a larger genre of storytelling. And so those additional installments will come in different forms. So the first piece will be this adventure magazine, which will have both prose, comic books, and comic strips within it. And then also a follow-up to that would not necessarily be another anthology, but would be a fleshed out version of one of the pieces within that. So this is the seed from which we hope to grow a mighty tree. So the next installment would likely be a full-blown graphic novel on its own.
And the first project, that is a series that we continue to work on, or is it?
The first season is completed for Hollow Medium. The audio is listenable anywhere you listen to podcasts, just search Hollow Medium. There are 5 seasons worth of story that we have outlined because we wanted to be prepared if in success people want more stories. We haven't announced any future seasons on that yet, but the conditions could come into being that would allow 2, 3, 4, and 5 to complete the Hollow Medium story. That being said, season 1 tells a complete story with a beginning, middle, and end. You're not going to be left with a cliffhanger or anything like that, but the fans who have already listened to it and uncovered some of the puzzle mysteries have already gotten a taste of where the story would go if it was to continue, which we hope it will.
And then the third one, the Dickens retelling or telling free, is it just going to be a novel, or could it be a play in the future, or?
That's a you question.
It's a great question. I think for right now, I can firmly say it's going to be a novel. We are going to release an audiobook version of it as well, but there are definitely plans to put it on different platforms and things like that and explore the world in different ways. So for right now, it will just be a book.
And are there any other projects you can hint at that your company's coming out?
No, not yet. These 3, one that exists, 2 that don't exist. That book is coming this Christmas. We have not announced a date for the magazine yet, so that one's a little further out. But we like to offer people who are physically here at WonderCon a ground floor sort of got here first, knowing what's coming, and inviting people into the process as these develop. So, yeah, a title announcement, especially if it comes with a little tiny sword to put in your pocket, not a bad way to receive that initial feedback on the idea and confirm the suspicion that, yeah, we're barking up the right tree.
And tell people why people should come to Comic-Con to meet organizations like yours.
Comic-Con and WonderCon and all of these local conventions anywhere you live are an opportunity to directly connect with small independent creators. And yes, your big brands may have a presence there, they may not. But when you can connect with the individual artist who may be at the beginning of a journey that's going to take them far, or is working on a level that is only sustainable at this small scale, it's a much more intimate experience. It's a much more one-to-one direct support. We have a few merchandise products that allow people to say, we like what you're doing, we want you to continue it, and they can support us in that way. And it's just a lot more personal. It's a lot more intimate, and it's been in my blood my whole life, and no matter what scale things grow to, there's always going to be some version of this for us because the door swings both ways. It's very satisfying for creator and the audience as well.
And how can people find you if they can't go to the con?
Good question. Everything will be linked to on GranvilleHouseProductions.com, and each project within that will have its own page, and some of them will have their own website, or in the case of Hollow Medium, multiple websites that exist within the universe of the story and that you can explore to find what is going on, what are all these secrets, and that little touch of the alternate reality game aspect is something that some of the projects will have, and we'll try and make that clear what people can expect in those initial announcements for those projects.
And do you do Kickstarter or not?
We haven't yet done Kickstarter. It hasn't been right for any of our projects, just in terms of schedule and kind of how those work. It's not out of the question for the future, because I've been very impressed by how some of those campaigns have been run by different projects. We're currently in sort of a more traditional thinking on terms of having a pre-order in advance and then fulfilling those pre-orders. But that being said, we have many friends that we've met here who have booths, who have successful Kickstarter campaigns behind them, and it's definitely something we're listening to. We want to learn as much as we want to put our work out there.
Do you want to talk about how it's great being 2 creatives who are married working together on projects?
This is an interesting question. Who do you want to answer this one?
I think we both can.
Okay, go. Start.
I think it's incredibly satisfying to have a partner who understands the creative mentality and what it is to be a creator. It's very challenging. It's very rewarding, but it's very challenging. So to be able to have somebody across the table from you who understands and who is able to give that level of support and feedback, because Nick and I both are writers specifically, we can actually give feedback on each other's written work, which is very helpful too. But I find it very, very satisfying, sometimes challenging. We don't always agree creatively, even on projects we're working on, but I think every project where that disagreement exists, it comes out the better for it, because we're having those hard conversations and we're really diving into what the project needs to be.
Definitely. The aspect of having someone who understands the plight of being a creator is, you'll talk to people who say they're too competitive for their spouse to be in the same field as them or to have the same interests as them. I found it to be completely the opposite. Perhaps it's because I do not have a competitive bone in my body, but I find it is immensely satisfying to have someone who understands the need, who understands the impetus that drives all of this, and it allows you to relate on a much deeper level. And so no two personalities are going to be alike. It's not going to work for everybody. Every relationship is different, but at least so far we have found that we are definitely stronger together, and there will be projects where she will be behind the wheel, and there will be projects where I'm behind the wheel, but we definitely offer different parts of the puzzle, different sides of the brain for these things, and it's so far worked great. Fingers remain crossed.
Once again, give me the website.
GranvilleHouseProductions.com is the website. You can search Hollow Medium anywhere you listen to podcasts. The show will come right up, and other projects will be announced right there.